Hi guys, hope you're all well. Remember to hit that like button and share this video if you can. Today I am going to read you a story that I wrote. It's the first time I've done this, so please be gentle with me. I hope you like it. I have wrote it myself. My daughters thought it was quite scary. So here we go, are you ready? I'm going to try and do the sound effects like Tracy does as well. It's called Ghost Hunting. There always seems to be ghost stories in these small Cornish seaside towns and villages, with the legends of pirates and shipwrecks, hidden caves and sea monsters, lost treasure. It was ideal for ghost hunting and ghost tours. The tourists lapped it up, but for one set of locals it was the reality of actually living in a nightmare. It was a small coastal village of Eastgate, just near Land's End, that my story begins. Eastgate wasn't really a place for holidaymakers. The high cliffs and crashing waves wasn't really a place for sunbathing or picnics on the beach. In fact, there wasn't really any beach to talk of. But what there was, if you believe the local legend, is every year on All Hallows Eve, the entrance to a hidden cave system would be illuminated by the full moon, and the legend said the caves would lead to a hidden room under the old castle, and the room was filled with a lost treasure and a magic staircase to the secret doorway into the castle. The castle itself was now just a few old fallen bricks and was mostly overgrown with weeds and trees, but the thing was, it was supposed to be haunted by the ghost of a young boy. Every year on All Hallows Eve, all hell would break loose. All you could hear was the screaming of a young man, and moaning and wailing, and of something terrible that had happened long, long ago. JD, Josh and Tracy were your typical teenagers. They didn't believe in ghosts, in legends or ghost stories, but the idea of a room full of treasure really is something they did believe in. So the evening before Halloween, they had their fingers and toes crossed that it would be a full moon. It had been a really hot day for October, not a cloud in the sky. So when the evening drew near, it was a clear night, and the stars were shining bright, and it was all illuminated by a huge full moon. They went to the top of the cliffs and looked down at the cliff face. Now the cliffs were not really that steep, and the three friends had climbed down them hundreds of times. But tonight the cliffs looked different. The moon seemed to make shadows dance and jump around. As they started to make their way down, they all started to feel uneasy and nervous. All of a sudden, Tracy fell forwards into the cliff face, in a place they had climbed down loads of times. But tonight, there was an opening into the cliffs. Tracy went first, her torch shining down the long corridor in the rock. The boys followed, their torches making the cave seem to be alive with shadows and light. They walked on for what seemed like an age until they found a large cave opening. It took a few moments for their torchlight and their eyes to adjust to what they were seeing. The room was huge. There were cobwebs everywhere, but in the centre of the room there was a huge old wooden trunk. Around the floor there were gold and silver coins, sparkling jewels. They took a step closer to the trunk, but then suddenly Tracy stopped dead. Around the edges of the room were dozens and dozens of skeletons. In fact, the whole room was filled with bones and skulls. They were even stood on top of human remains. All three of them screamed and started running back down the way they thought they had come. But instead of one passageway, there was 3 or 4 all leading off in different directions. Which way did they go? Then JD saw movement from one of the tunnels. A shadow was coming towards them, screaming and wailing and moaning and crying. They just ran as fast as they could in the opposite direction. As fast as they ran, they didn't seem to get anywhere. Then suddenly they were all alone, and it was a dead end. They turned round, but they found their path blocked by the rock face. They all started screaming at the top of their lungs, "Help, help, anyone, can you hear us?" But nothing. In the local pub, the landlord had called last orders, and the locals were heading off home or to the local chippy to get some supper. Jury was an American, had only lived in the village for a couple of years. He'd heard about the legend, but it did not put him off walking past the old castle to get to his remote cottage, which was about a mile out of the village. He was approaching the castle. He could swear he heard something, but the wind was really bad, and he thought it was just playing tricks on him. Help, help, please, anyone help. He could just about make it out over the wind. God, the legends must be true, he thought. The castle is haunted. He started to run faster and faster. All he wanted to see was the safety of his home. His wife could be there waiting for him, the coal fire warming him up after the cold, cold night. It was early next morning, and the two sisters, Maya and Madison, were taking their dog for their morning walk. They always took the same route along the cliff top into town to pick up their groceries from the village shop. All of a sudden, the dog ran off and looked like he was going to run right off the edge of the cliff, but stopped dead, barking like crazy. The sisters ran up behind him, and to their terror, laying at the foot of the cliffs were three bodies, three teenage bodies, 2 boys and a girl. When the police came and cordoned off the area, the old sergeant said to his colleague how he couldn't understand how the 3 teenagers had just appeared on the rocks exactly 1 year to the day after going missing on Halloween last year. Rob, Jeremy and Brian were your typical teenagers. They didn't believe in ghosts but believed in a room full of treasure, and tonight we decided they were going to go and look for the treasure themselves and see if the legend was true. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you're having a really, really good Halloween, and I will speak to you soon. Remember to smash that like button and share this video, and I will be back with you soon.